Alright guys, it's Kremp again. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Kenny going off on the main stage over the last few years in preparation for Black Ops 7. Not his best game in BO6, and he's hoping that the better maps that arrive into BO7, at least that is the intention, will turn the game around to some degree. But Kenny very clear on what games he does like in COD history and what games he is not such a big of a fan of in terms of what maps want to come back, what games should we look for, and what games should we not look for. And he reckons the fans on many instances are pretty clueless when it comes to this conversation. Zinni gives his thoughts as well. Very much interested to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Plenty to get into. Illy took down a $2,000 variant tournament. This guy clearly is looking to make that return. Okay, enough with the Illy update to the day. I will share this clip as well here from Havok talking about the best players that he had to play against as a pro. Goes through numerous iterations of his time as a pro player. We even mentioned Havok earlier today because of that 1v4 he clutched against the Dynasty way back in Advanced Warfare. He also had a crazy clutch in Black Ops 3. Here I go again, talking about BO3, but there was a crazy clutch he had. I think it was on Hunted. It was a 1 versus 4. It might have been against TSM. I'm not sure, but I think he used like active camo and stuff. Good times anyway. Specialists, of course, arrived into the game in BO3. We'll certainly talk about that more in the coming days. But Havok mentions some familiar names. But obviously, Havok had a pretty long career as well. And in more recent times mentions that Shotzzy was a particularly difficult opponent to stop.
Who was the best in the league when you played? A couple different people, I would say. I would say at one point it was Simp, at one point it was Scump, at one point it was Formal, at one point it was maybe even Gunless, Shotzzy. I don't know, just changed over the years, over the games. Yeah, Shotzzy is pretty annoying to play against.
But let's talk about Kenny, because there was a post I saw on Reddit yesterday. It said, who was the most disappointing player of the most recent season? And you've got to say, Kenny's got to be up there, right? Like, given expectations, what had happened coming off winning the World Championship with OpTic in 2024 Modern Warfare 3, there were high expectations for Ken and for that roster. Things didn't go to plan. So, look, Kenny was obviously very underwhelming. I think the same could be said for Pred as well. Okay, there was some strange circumstances there, but Pred was out, then he was back in, then he was out again, then he was onto the Falcons. And look, I guess he was still shooting straight, so he's got that going for him. And there were some other players as well last season, which were, you know, very underwhelming, disappointing, whatever you want to say. Maybe Sib was pretty lackluster this season as well. Even as unfortunate as it is, you might have to say Attach, because he had a pretty rough year and then obviously stepped away and retired. I wish it didn't happen, but it is what it is. And there's some other players. I mean, like Skies was pretty underwhelming. The whole team they had at the start of the season was bad. Lins, maybe I had higher hopes for as well, given how the season went for him. So, and even just that Rocket team that Kenny joined, really, like, I think I was expecting a bit more this year from Estriel, probably, and maybe from Geo as well. Like, you know, that whole team, I really thought there was something there, but there wasn't, as it turned out. And even Kenny, after leaving that team for the off-season, made the comments, didn't need to say, look, I've got no problem with teaming with younger players, but they need to actually want to win rather than just say that they do. So, you know, I wonder who he might have been talking about there. But Kenny was also talking about quite a lot over the last few days, and they were certainly discussing what's going to happen in BO6 when it comes to BO7, when it comes to the new maps. The big problem in Modern Warfare 2, really, was the maps. I mean, basically every game of the CDL era has had some sort of map set issue. You go back to MW19, I mean, wow, we were playing... Look, I actually think Arklov Peak was a pretty good map for Search and Destroy, but we were playing Azir Cave Hardpoint. We were playing Ramaza, which... I don't know, I hated Ramaza. I thought it was atrocious. So, and many other maps that were even worse than that. I mean, as Zinni says in this clip, in Modern Warfare 3, we were playing Subbase, right? Like, we were playing Subbase Hardpoint, which was not ever really considered to be a competitive map at all. So they brought back in that game all the original Modern Warfare 2 maps, but really, how well did they work, right? Like, I guess Invasion was okay, but apart from that, it was pretty rough. And then Modern Warfare 2, the maps were shambolic, right? Like, they were terrible, and we were playing... I mean, what was the best map? Hotel was pretty damn good, to be fair. But apart from that, it was pretty rough that year in terms of new maps. And the year before that in Vanguard, I mean, Tuscan was good. The thing is, if you look at Tuscan, I really like Tuscan, but if you look at it compared to the other maps of today and the best maps in the CDL era, It's not like it's top of the list, right? I mean, you go back to World War II, people criticise the maps not being great in that game, but, you know, London Docks is a premium map, and even the other maps in that game, right? Like, Ardennes Forest was pretty good as well. Cold War had pretty decent maps, but even then, as a tryout game, it wasn't great, really. You know, maps like Garrison weren't ideal. People like Moscow, and I thought Moscow was okay as well, but, you know, Moscow was probably the best map in that game, apart from Raid, that they brought back, and it still wasn't exactly spectacular. So, for BO6, again, it was like, all right, is this finally the year that we get some good maps back in the game? Because in Modern Warfare 3, yeah, we were playing Subbase and Invasion and all the old school BO or Modern Warfare 2 maps, but they did save it. They saved it well with Rio, with Vista, and of course with 6 Star. So for BO6, there was more optimism that, okay, finally these devs have figured out what we want to see. They're going to bring in some more maps to the game, but unfortunately in Black Ops 6, it was kind of the same old, and a large part of that, I mean, you know, we were playing Red Card this year, and Red Card wasn't even that bad compared to the rest of the game, but if you'd have told me when the game first came out that Red Card would be one of the better competitive maps, and you go and look at the thing, I'd be like, yeah, we're not in for a great year. We had a good year in terms of entertainment, sure, but in terms of maps, again, it was a problem. So the pros are very much wanting for the new game the maps to be an awful lot better than they have been in the past. Now, BO7, there was rumours that BO7 was going to do exactly what Modern Warfare 3 did and just bring back all of the original Black Ops 2 maps. Like, everything was going to arrive into the game. And maybe they have remastered all of them, and maybe they will arrive at some point, but probably not. Raid is coming back in for sure. There is debate in the community about this. Should Raid come back, right? Like, do we want Raid back in the game again, right? Do we want the same map we've seen a million times back again? We haven't really seen it a million times. The last time we had it was back in Cold War, quite a while ago, right? So, you know, I'm down for Raid to come back. It is the best map in the history of COD. It plays well for everything. I don't think there's a bad time having Raid in. Now, look, do I want the map pool to be entirely made up of maps that we have seen before? No. I would like to have new maps created, new maps in the game, new things to add some level of intrigue. I think what's good about COD is that as the year goes on, towards the end of the year, people are still finding out new things and understanding new things about the maps. If we're playing Raid again, it's like, well, at this point, everyone knows how to play Raid Hardpoint, right? Like, yeah, I want to see it, and the spawns are going to be different, and the things add new elements to the game, but Raid Hardpoint is kind of a solved problem. Whereas 6-Star Hardpoint that arrives halfway through the game and is a fantastic map, you know, you could bring back 6-Star today, and that would still evolve as time goes on. Of course, Raid Hardpoint will still evolve and everything, but I think you know what I'm trying to say, that it's good to have some new maps in the game. But the question is, what type of maps should those be based off? Do we want to bring back all the original BO2 maps? You know, we're going to play Express Search and Destroy again, probably, and that's a perfectly fine map. There's loads of things you can do there. No issues with that at all. But what other maps are they going to bring back? Could they look at Black Ops 4, Arsenal, Frequency, obviously Hacienda came back in this most recent game, but Kenny says that BO2 and some of the maps over there simply overrated and not as good as as many people actually think that they were, and says that really you're talking about 6-Star, you're talking about Rio, Vista, some of these other maps. These are the type of maps designs that we should be aiming for and hoping to get in the new game if we want to make it a better product.
So then, here's my question. This game made 3 godlike maps. And y'all might not think godlike, but I'm telling you, y'all are living on the stuff. Nobody wants to play those maps nowadays. Those maps were not like, nobody, like, bro.
Nah, I think Raid has to be played if it comes down to it, bro. I will die on that hill. I think Raid, I am fucking tired of not having any new good maps. MW3, he's right. Vista, Rio, 6-Star, they were actually fantastic competitive maps. It saved MW3. If Black Ops 7 comes out and you don't have good original maps, I would rather you play Raid Hardpoint than a map that's subpar, in my opinion. Just because it's proven, it's good, it plays well, it looks good, the whole 9 yards. Like, we played sub-base Hardpoint in this game, bro. I don't want to face a situation where we're playing dog shit maps. I like the mix of old and new. In a perfect world, you have 5 to 6 brand new maps that are all great for competitive. I'm not saying I prefer Raid over new good maps. It's just, if it's subpar new maps or a map like Raid, I'd prefer Raid. The issue is, it's like being blindfolded and throwing darts when it comes to new maps and new Call of Duties. Some games are going to have some good maps at launch, and some games are not. That's why I think having maps like Raid is like a fallback is something I prefer at this point. You know what I mean?
It was just the first iteration of Hardpoint. That game, I'm not saying that BO2 is a fucking trash game. Don't get it twisted. I would also say that Black Ops 3 is better than BO2. I didn't play Black Ops 3 that way. Like, I didn't play it that much. But in terms of maps and the only thing I don't like about Black Ops 3 is the wall running. That's it. The wall running, I don't like at all. The game has specialists. It has the good maps. It had good guns. I would argue
I don't
Black
think
Ops 3
he's
is better
tripping.
than...
I think there is an argument between Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3. I personally prefer Black Ops 2. I think Black Ops 3 was like an incredible game. But I have to go Black Ops 2.
I'm sorry to say this. Slums is not a good map. We are not finna... Yes, y'all gonna remember about these plays. Oh,
I agree that Slums is highly overrated. I've always said I think Slums is overrated.
this guy made this play on this map. Slums is not a good map. It's a good hardpoint map because of how it's played back. Slums is ass. Slums is
The draft's in 20
ass.
minutes, guys.
I'm so sorry. You're bugging. OG. Slums is not better than Rio. Slums is not better than Rio or Six Star. I promise you. That is literally, that is just, y'all are,
I
y'all
might
are
agree with
remembering
him.
literal bullshit.
I think I might agree with him.
Of all maps is better than these maps. Yes, I would give it to you. We can't even argue about the MW3 maps because they were all MW2 maps. Even then, y'all are not gonna tell me that those maps are better than Six Star Rio.
Six Star and Rio were
for sure.
fantastic.
That
maps.
is so cap.
Fantastic.
That's how I know
maps.
y'all don't know what a good map is. Six Star is literally probably the second best map in CDL history. What? It's top 3 for sure.
Second best map in CDL history. Okay, what's the number one map in CDL history? Hotel? Raid? Ocage?
We are on tar.
Guys, you're talking about CDL maps, guys. CDL maps, only CDL.
Y'all are so like stuck on nostalgia. First of all, if Slums are so good, why hasn't it been brought back in any game like Raid? Okay, I'm saying anybody that just so stuck on like those maps. Like we are like it. That is not a good map. I'm sorry.
Now, some were saying, look, Kenny, yeah, you can say that these BO2 maps weren't great. And look, am I going to back his opinion on BO3 being the best game and like better than BO2? Yeah, because BO3 is the best game. I love Black Ops 2 as well. But look, you guys know my opinion on this. And people are finally starting to realize what I've been saying for years. Whatever. People are talking about this because this was Yemen Hardpoint. Also a pretty damn good competitive map in my opinion. But maybe not at the level of some of the BO3, BO4 maps, no, depending on your opinion. I actually did like Yemen Hardpoint, but they did get put in the 12-point club, and Kenny went 6-22 against the Dynasty when they played this, right? So, yeah, maybe there's something in that why Kenny doesn't like Black Ops 2 as much. But does he have a fair point, right? Like, I have genuinely always thought this, and I do agree with Kenny and Methods on this one, that Slums is, I think for Hardpoint it's fine. For Search and Destroy, it's not great. It used to be a pretty good Capture the Flag map. I actually think that for Capture the Flag, Slums is one of the best maps ever. The way that, you know, the flow of the map and the way that the cutoffs work and everything, and the options you have going through the different lanes. Slums Capture the Flag is a banger map mode combination in my opinion. Hardpoint's fine, it's okay. The issue is that P3, P4 were on the same side and you just had a guy sitting right at the back with the trophy system on the fountain and just holding spawns for both of those hills. So, and Search and Destroy in my opinion never really worked very well. So Slums is, like, I think it's one of those maps, it's like Comeback in Advanced Warfare. Fantastic for uplink, but don't play it for anything else. And in my opinion, that's how Slums should be. Like, if we're going to play Slums, it should be for Capture the Flag. I don't know, maybe uplink works great on this map as well. Who knows? Maybe they do bring it back again. And also, Kenny said they hadn't brought Slums back. They have. They've brought it back plenty of times. So, like, that's not an excuse, really, to say that it's not actually all that good. It is... It's fine, right? Like, Slums is a perfectly acceptable map, but it's not a top tier map in my opinion. It's not a raid, it's not a standoff, but it's, you know, maybe it's slightly better than Kenny thinks, but I do understand that perspective. Is Rio better than Slums? It's a question. I definitely think the Rio over the game modes plays better than Slums over the game modes. But yeah, Slums CTF is a good time. But there definitely are some of us that would like to see 6-star come back into the game. As I say, I still think this map has a lot more to give the competitive scene. And look, when 6-star will come back, I imagine that it probably will at some point. It's probably not going to be for BO7, but I think the optimism would be that the devs at Treyarch can look at 6-star, look at Rio, look at even maps like Vista and say, okay, that's what we are going to take as inspiration to design the better maps for the upcoming game. Would very much enjoy your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hopefully we don't have any more maps like this in COD history. What was this map called again? Was this like Border Crossing or something? I forget exactly the full name of it. But yeah, this is a prime Call of Duty experience right here. But very much enjoy your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.